You have to start thinking about the distinctions at this point. And that's where we're getting to. I mean, there are little things that are coming out, which we'll be talking about, like, how are you going to use this elicitation, right? Distinguishing between the elicitation and firing the anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are nuances in each, right? When you're setting the anchor, you're eliciting a state, waiting for it and setting it. When you're firing the anchor, you're firing it in the middle of a sentence. They're different. When you're eliciting the anchor and setting the anchor, think about, and people are getting, let's just reiterate the basics for a second. When you're setting an anchor, you're saying, well, whatever it is. It's like, well, so what you know what you're looking for in a car, right? Right. Set the anchor, because you have to wait for it. It's at the end, the elicitation. But when I'm firing the anchor, it's completely different. I'm saying, okay, how about we take a look over here? Right? So let's get clear on what we're doing.
So
right?
here's I'll shut up. You're not done. I'll be over here.
No, you stay here, because I know that leads well into the next, and the next thing I was going to talk about is knowing your audience. Understanding where you're taking someone from before you start, because it's really easy to write a bunch of elicitations, right? But you have to think about where your audience is starting. Sebastian wrote some great elicitations. They fit all the rules. But the problem with it is that he's not starting with an interested audience. You guys are here. It's great. I can come up here and say, you're all here for a reason, right? I can do that with you because you all chose to be here. He has a captive audience. They don't want to be there. They have no choice. They have to take the class. So he first has to eliminate the skepticism, right? So for him, he has to build an objection destroyer saying, hey, you know what? I'm here the same reason you are, right? We all expected to be talking to someone about they're doing an interview process. It's really normal. You know what? But I found something different. I was surprised at what I found. And bring it up. Or he has to do a good bad anchor. The bad anchor would kind of dispel what they're talking. It's like, we all expected to find this, let's be honest, another boring speech, another boring project we have to do, right? But, I started talking to her, and I was surprised, right? Good, bad anchor set up right away. But for him, it's different. He has to get rid of their boredom, their skepticism. They don't want to be there. They think it's going to be one more boring speech about one more boring student. So think about your audience when you're setting up your elicitations. Now, I was talking to Woosley, and so you're talking to your client, you're like, I'm curious. And that's great, but are they? Are you selling them? Are they coming to you? How are they coming in? You have to think about that when you're doing your elicitations. So think about where they're starting, what elicitation is going to work on them, and then think about where you're leading them. And that's just firing the anchor. There you have control. In the beginning, you have to lead them, draw them in.